Hi there. If you're watching this, number one, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to start a series, just an off the cuff live series of focus on emotionally intelligent living. And it's called Straight Talk with Steve for a reason. I think there's so much noise out there and there's so much disinformation about what is emotional intelligence, what is acceptable in the workplace as far as emotions, how do we live our best lives, what is leadership development. Let me give you a little of my story. That'll give you an idea of where I'm coming from. And first, let me start with this. My passion is to equip people to be the very best that they can be, bring the very best out of everyone. And I do that through a variety of means. I do it through assessments and coaching and training and consulting. But really, all of that has one thing in common, and that is connecting with people. So let me give you a little of my background. I have lived all over the Southwest and Midwest United States and loved moving around, seeing new things, new people. I've made friends in a lot of places. I got into sales right after college. I was in the sciences in college, but my dad was a psychologist, and I always enjoyed that part of my life of learning from him. I've learned a lot from him. Over the years, I've had three different versions of my own company. Currently, it's called EQFIT, and that is EQ for emotional intelligence and fit for fitness. How emotionally fit are we? Why is that important? Frankly, it comes down to this. If we don't learn the skills to navigate our emotions and the emotions of others, it will negatively impact every other part of our lives. So I don't care what your IQ is, I don't care how good you are at certain things. We are built to be in community. We are relational people. We are emotional people. We think a lot with our logic and our rational thought, but you can't access those if your emotional intelligence is not helping you. If we're stuck in negative cycles of emotion. Now, I probably dove into all of that way too fast, but just kind of stick with me if you would. I would appreciate that. I have I have been in sales. I have been a sales manager, sales director. I have done a variety of things in my life as far as coaching, consulting. I've worked with hundreds of organizations and thousands of people over 40 plus years of doing this. So I bring a lot of real life experience to what life is all about. And I do have and believe very firmly in my faith. I am a Christian. I think that's very important I know it's important to me. Faith in our spirit is a very important aspect of who we are, whatever you believe in. And my goal is not to push that down anybody's throat, but if you don't start to connect the dots between your most deepest layer, which is your spirit, or when the next deepest layer is your emotions, if you don't start to connect those things, then you're going to live a life that isn't very fulfilling, and you're going to be going through the motions, but you may not be getting the enjoyment and the meaning out of life that you want, which goes back to my original statement about, is somebody asked me the other day, what is your two-word purpose? And I said, it's simple: equip people. That's it. I want to equip people because I see how good life can be. And that doesn't necessarily mean being wealthy or having all kinds of likes on Facebook. What it means is a balanced, holistic life that encompasses all of who you are and what you want to do with your life. And that's what I'm here to do some straight talk about, because there's so much noise out there. So my background in coaching, consulting, training, I work with a lot of leaders and owners of organizations. I work with a lot of salespeople over the years, and I work with a lot of believers. And, I teach a class at my church. I am certified in many, many different psychometric assessments. I'm also a licensed minister of the gospel, and I'm somebody who just enjoys people. So today I want to focus a little bit about where I want to take this new effort, these live events that I'm starting now on YouTube. I just want them to be comfortable. And yeah, I'm probably going to fumble through some things. You'll notice I tend to be a verbal processor. That's a style that comes out of my personality. But I hope that in all of this processing, there'll be some nuggets for you. And the key is, how do we figure out what our calling is, what our passion is? And maybe you've already done that. And so where do we go from there? Well, I think the next step is to figure out what skills, what growth do I need to really achieve my desires, to achieve my goals. And those goals can't be just lopsided. It cannot be just about your business. It can't be just about your work. It can't be just about your family. There are so many aspects in our lives today. The problem that we all have is that today we get about the same amount of input in one day that our grandparents got in an entire year. And our brains have not evolved that much. So all of this input, and you're getting a part of that right now if you're watching this video. We have YouTube, we have Instagram, we have X, we have emails, we have streaming TV, we have all kinds of ways to get input. But are we giving our brain the chance to process that input? Where do I want to take this emotionally intelligent living? Straight talk from Steve. I just want to take it where anybody wants to go. So if you want to make a comment later, if you want to put something in the chat now, feel free to do that. I want to focus on things that are important to everybody. And I want to help people understand that you may feel stuck. You may feel like you're at your wit's end, so to speak. You may feel like things are never going to change. Or you may be in a great place and things are great for you. But the key here is, how do we live our best life consistently? And sometimes that best life is not going to be all that great because we're going through trials and tribulations in our life, and that's okay. We all go through those. I've recently lost my younger brother, which was a real shock. We didn't have any idea that was going to happen, and I miss him. We took vacations together, fishing trips, and I love those things. So when you lose somebody, maybe you are going through some form of pain or grief or loss or setback, like job loss or something like that. The reality is you're going to feel it, and it's okay to feel it. People who tell themselves that they need to push their emotions down and suppress them, well, what happens when you put things under pressure for so long that it exceeds the pressure limit? Yeah, you get a blow up, right? And it almost always happens when you don't want it to. So there is so much more to life than I think most of us really achieve on a regular basis. And this is not a fake it till you make it kind of approach. It's not, oh, just positive thinking will get you there. No, I'm talking about, if you're interested in growing yourself, your skills, your mindset, and really getting yourself in a place where you can overcome the challenges, take advantage of opportunities. If you can get yourself there, you're going to live a more agile, resilient, adaptive, and enjoyable lifestyle. And we can be happy with little, we can be happy with a lot. But the key is, how do we reach that happiness, and what is genuine happiness? And I'm going to talk about all those things as I do these different live events on YouTube here. So Now, let me give you a quick update on what I'm doing, because I'm trying to figure out, how do I take my years of experience and the knowledge I've gained, all of the different insights, the trainings, the certifications, how do I package all of that and make it available to people in a way that makes sense? And frankly, in a way that brings value and helps people, because that's really my heart. I want to help as many people as I can live the best life they can. And I think what it comes down to is I'm doing some new things. This is one of those. Now, I've done a lot of LinkedIn Lives this year. I've done other webinars in the past, and that's kind of that's fine. There's nothing wrong with those. In some ways, it's more about passing on specific information, where I want this time with you to be more about me just sharing some stuff with you that I'm learning, that I'm growing in, that I have experienced maybe myself, that might help you. And so what I'm doing is I'm doing LinkedIn Lives. I've written a couple of books recently. One of them is on sales. It's Unlocking Sales Success with EQ, which is EQ, the measure of emotional intelligence. And then the other one is more on the faith side, and it's called Fruitful and Free: Living the Abundant Life Through Spirit-Led Emotional Intelligence. I believe that our lives are meant to be lived in harmony with all of the aspects of our lives. Now, this is not a new age kind of thing. It's just a very simple, that's the way we're created. If you understand how the human brain works, which I do, I've studied neuroscience and brain science for 40 plus years. The reality is we're meant to live in harmony internally and externally. And that's what I want to help people find, is that harmony. Because when that happens, and you've been there, you've been in a place where you've been in harmony with yourself and with others, it's just an enjoyable, productive place to be. So I've written a couple of books. I'm getting ready to start 3 different masterminds. What's a mastermind? Most of you may know it. Some of you may not know what a mastermind is. It's a simple getting together with a group of people with a primary focus and working and living together through that process. So what I've learned is, believe it or not, we all have busy schedules. And everybody that says, "Oh, Steve, I don't know that I can add anything more to my plate right now." By the way, if that's you, if you're saying that to yourself or to other people, something's wrong. We should always have some margin in our lives. And it comes back to our habits. It comes back to what our expectations are of ourselves and what others' expectations are of us. So maybe it's boundaries and balance, but there should always be margin in your life. And I spoke to someone this morning who basically said, "Well, I don't think I can do the coaching. I just can't add another hour to my week." Well, yeah, that's exactly right. You can't add another hour to your week. We don't have control over time. We do have control over the 4 things we control 100%: how we spend our time, energy, focus, and effort. Those are the things we completely control. And if you're spending all your time and you're too busy to not have any margin in your life, that's a part of the equipping process I bring to people. It may be a time management thing. It may be an expectation thing. It may be a boundaries thing. It may be a combination of all of those. And so as I'm releasing these masterminds, one for leadership, one for sales, one for faith, those are 1 full year of transformational growth condensed down into 12 weeks, because people want to get those skills and they want to develop them, but we all have commitments and we all have obligations and we all have to juggle busy schedules. And so I've made it very convenient. It's designed for busy schedules. Those are the things that I'm doing to try and bring this abundant life to other people, because there is room for improvement for all of us. I think you would agree with that. The key for today is to introduce what I'm doing and then give you just a sense of some of the things I'm doing, some ways to connect. Obviously, the YouTube channel here, YouTube at EQFIT. Our website is eqfit.org. And in the description, you're going to see a variety of links that will take you to different resources. Feel free to check those out. The 2 books are in there. They're on Amazon right now, and they're available for purchase. And I would love it if you would buy one of those books, but also give me some feedback. Do a review, if you would, for me. I would really appreciate that. And also, I want to give an open invitation here. If there's a topic around what I focus on, which is emotional intelligence, habit transformation, rational thinking and growing rational thinking skills, and skill development, that is the EQFIT mindset. If you have questions about any of those things, I would love to talk about that on one of these live videos. I'm going to leave it at that. I will try to do these every week. I'm not going to make a promise, because I already do a blog and a podcast and a variety of other things, but I would like to just get down and be real with people, at least once or twice a week, and just share what's on my heart, share what I've seen. I hope you'll reach out. Thanks for listening to this. And again, like and subscribe, because I'd love to grow the community. Have a great weekend, or a great week wherever you are when you watch this.